Oh, Emma, 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 Emma.
Please welcome back Emma Willmann.
Oh, Emma.
You're Emma. Oh, okay, Emma.
Here we go. Let's get crazy.
Oh, Emma.
Today I'm talking to Joey Skladany. Did I say your last name right?
You said it right.
Yes, Joey Skladany is a writer, editor, TV, radio personality, lifestyle expert, former entertainment publicist, and coming out August 4th is bringing you the book Basic Bitchin', like Basic Kitchen, but Basic Bitchin'. And he completed an honors thesis on the branding of broadcast journalism and was a member of the undergraduate leadership program at his college. How you doing?
I love you so much for doing that.
I went way back.
This is so exciting, Emma. I feel like I get to be your new Mateo
Yeah. Uh-oh.
for a moment.
You guys do have a lot of similarities, actually.
Well, I have a larger midsection, so I don't know about that. We both have the big ass, though. We both have big asses.
And you're both Italian,
True.
which is and love and appreciate food.
Amen. We both do. We're both homosexual. I guess
And you're both
that's a
duh.
commonality.
Right. There's something else I'm missing. I don't know. Can't put my finger on it.
Yeah.
There's just one other thing. I was reading about Basic Bitchin'. I want to ask you about what you were like as a kid and like get the picture up to this point.
Yeah.
But I've never had a pumpkin spice latte.
You're kidding me.
No.
Why?
I'll tell you why. Because every time I go up to get it, I get kind of nervous because I don't know. I feel like it'll be like too sweet. It'll be too much of a sugar jolt. And I just don't do it. I don't even know if I've tasted it. It's one of those things that's gone on for so long. I just keep it going.
I'm like the opposite because I don't drink coffee. It it's like I literally will be on the toilet all day. It's not a cute situation.
Right.
So in my mind, it's like, oh, pumpkin spice lattes. It helps to dilute the coffee situation, and that's
it's like
why
a
I love them
softer.
so much. But you need to, girl. Next
I
time,
know.
we're going. I mean, they
Why
roll
is
them
it
out now in July.
Right. Yeah, it's not like as seasonal. Why is it considered a basic bitch thing?
I don't know. I just think these random ass things just become ingrained in our like pop culture and our everyday vernacular.
Right.
And when something becomes just so popular, it gets the basic term applied to it. And you do see a bunch of just very basic ass white girls, going into the park with their Instagram husbands,
Right.
taking pictures among the leaves, holding their pumpkin spice lattes. And
Right.
this book celebrates that. It's also very self-deprecating. It's like, recognize the fact that you are very basic in this moment, but it tastes damn good and you look super cute, so why
Right.
not?
If something's basic too, I'll feel like there's this comedian, Nate Bargatze, he had a joke about Walmart. He was like, they were a mom and pop shop and then they just like got their shit together. So if something's really good and it goes that mainstream, then it went mainstream for a reason. Like, it's delicious.
Yeah, they're doing something right.
I
But
love
feel like
avocado
also
toast.
Starbucks could. Oh yeah.
Love.
Well, there you go. That's on the cover too.
I know.
Mine is super good.
I'm
What do you like on your avocado toast? That's what I always am curious about.
So I'm like a really like messy eater. And if I'm by myself and I'm not making it for someone else, I'll just probably won't even toast a toast. I don't want to horrify you, but probably don't even toast the toast. And then I just take avocado. I'll take it out of the avocado shell. I might squish it with my hand.
I would hope you take it out of the shell.
Yeah, I'm not a total monster. I'm
You're
not
not a monster.
fucking fuck this weird apple. I don't give a fuck. I take it out of the shell. I might take my hand, scoop the innards out, squish it with my hand. Maybe not. This would be really extreme.
Oh.
Squish it with my hand, put it in a bowl with some oil, continue to squish, and then take it in my hand and smack it on the toast, and then put some salt on it, and then maybe some lemon.
I love these descripters.
Yeah, that's
Smack
how I
it,
would.
like mush it.
Yep, smack it, mush it, pop
Maybe
it,
you should
twist
write
it.
a book, Emma. Come on now.
It would just
These
be
verbs.
It would be like my admission to like going to some kind of rehab or something. Just I'd hand them the book and they'd be like, "Yeah, you belong here." When I was reading some of your articles about your stomach issues, which I also have,
Yeah.
by the way, refreshing to hear about, especially someone who is so accomplished in food and looks like you do, to be talking about having stomach issues was refreshing, because you wouldn't look at you and think stomach issues, but it kind of knows no discrimination.
Yeah. It's a silent illness.
It's a silent illness. What was it like when you were a kid? Like, what were you like as a kid? And then also, when did the stomach issues start like popping up?
Oh my gosh. Well, I've always been high-strung, OCD, basically every single term to describe someone neurotic. And I learned through years of therapy that I would say, she said, you were just wired that way. Like, this is a genetic thing. Like, even as a 2-year-old, I would be given sets of like those Matchbox cars by the like 100.
Yeah.
And my mom could leave me in a room for hours and I would color code them or like line them up.
Oh my God.
That's just how I am. So it always worked to my benefit because I was like a really good student. I was scared of, messing up. I was very scheduled, regimented. I had a
Why do you think you were scared of messing up? Were your parents putting a lot of pressure on you, or was it self-imposed?
No, it's self-imposed. My parents were really good about just kind of allowing me to find my own way, and they never really put pressure on me to do. I mean, they would say kind of off the cuff remarks. Like, I remember in high school, my dad would be like, A's are for awesome, B's are for bad. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, what the hell's C? Like, cunt? I like was dreading anything like honestly lower than an A-. But no, what the shift really happened. I think obviously you develop a sense of self-awareness. The older you get, the more mature you get, the more life experiences you have. And in high school, it did get to a point, I would say when I started driving, where just the traffic in the morning would cause me to have stomach problems. And I would have to pull over and use the bathroom at a freaking Burger King. But the funny part, and in that article I mentioned, I would go to like a Perkins, and then because I love food so much, I would walk out with a slice of pie. I'm like, well, now I know I have nothing left in my stomach.
Yeah, my stomach's empty.
Yeah, my stomach's empty, so I may as well buy a fucking slice of pie because it's amazing.
Would you tell people you were going through this, or were you just suffering silently?
I was open about it. I had to.
Really?
Because, I mean, here's the thing. I think me, like everybody in this world, I was terrified of pooping at school. That's
oh my God, yeah. Especially in high school? Fuck.
Oh my gosh.
Because for men too, because you have to go, if you pee. I actually didn't think of this until right now, but if you pee, you're outside. And then if you're in there, then you're like, Joey's in there for a reason.
You're like, he's sitting down, he's obviously shitting.
Right.
And I went to a really small private school, 60 kids in my graduating class. So they know sneakers. So it's not like I can cover it up. Like, they're looking under, they're like, oh, those are those faggy little Reeboks. That is totally Joey shitting his
You're trying to hide
out.
your sneakers, like moving. You've got other shoes on for when you go poop, and they're like, Joey, we figured out what you're doing. We know those lady shoes are not your fucking. We know
I put on stilettos to poop in my high school. But it was just, I had to be open about it. And even when I did a lot of theater in high school, and I would get so nervous that I would chug bottles of Pepto-Bismol before I went on stage to guarantee that I wasn't going to shit myself. So it just became a running joke. It's like, Joey and his Pepto, you know, it almost was like I was carrying a flask around and secretly, like, well, not so secretly. It was like I had whiskey all day and was just chugging, and that's how I got through life, but replaced whiskey with
Pepto-Bismol. Did you ever figure out what it was?
So I went through multiple tests.
Right.
I had to get a colonoscopy at a really young age.
What is
Everything's
that?
always been tied. A colonoscopy?
Okay, because I know the colon is in men. Because I got a colonoscopy. You
have a colon.
Oh wait, fuck! Because I know
you're thinking of a prostate.
Prostate. This is the thing. I always confuse the colon and the prostate because I've had where they clean out your colon.
A colonic.
So I had that. Colonic. So I confused a colonic with a colonoscopy because I was like, I'm going to get a colon, and I couldn't remember what it was. So whenever someone says colonoscopy, I get confused. So that's when they a colonoscopy, they like put a little camera in your butt.
Yeah, it's basically like a tube, and it's got a camera on the end with like a little light.
Oh God.
Goes up into like your intestinal areas. So my grandma actually has really bad colitis. She's in remission. She was on prednisone for like 7 years. She went into like a jack-o'-lantern with all the water she was retaining. And she's fine now, but it's two parts. It's like a lot of it's stress induced, but it's also hereditary.
Right.
So they're looking to see if I had ulcers. Ultimately, it's always been attributed to just inflammation of my intestines, brought on obviously by stress and anxiety. So I luckily have not had, like, I was diagnosed with it in the hospital in college because I had a really bad flare up, a bad episode, but it didn't lead to like me needing surgery or to be put on medication. So for me, I just monitor it. And it's like, I would say 3 times a month, I have like bad flare ups where I'm like cramping and I like want to die. But it's very manageable compared to other people who have it so severe.
And it's not triggered by all the different types of food you have to eat?
Yes and no. Like sometimes, like, girl, I can't have like wilted greens, you know, like that's going to go
no
out
good.
the way it came in and it is not going to be a cute situation. But yeah, it's like I do keep things in mind as I'm out and eating in public. Clearly, we're not doing much of that right now.
Right.
But, like I'll never go and get the like clam chowder at a restaurant because it's
bad news.
Great. But I could have a clam chowder within the company, like within the comfort of my own home, and be totally fine.
What if you have to try it for work? Because that is such a brave thing to be a food editor when you get stomach issues. Because like when we met, we would be trying. Well, would you eat the food along with us? We would be eating the food. Yeah. So like that's like, and then all of a sudden, if you're like gotta go, you're putting yourself in a situation where you're like eating around a lot of people a lot.
Yeah. So again, it's like, that's why I've been so open about my stomach problems, because if I go out with friends, it's either like, well, it's weird because when you have stomach issues, you have this mentality everywhere I go. The first thing I look for, it's like a subconscious thing, is where the bathroom is. Right. Because I need to know if I have an episode, like this stuff has got to come out within 2 minutes. If not, it's going to be running down my leg, not to be graphic.
Joey, I pooped my pants like in adulthood a couple times. And it was really a formative life experience.
Right?
Yeah, mine wasn't when I was younger. It developed when I was older. And I don't know if mine was stress induced or what. It all went away. Like when I went on Accutane, it made it go away. But I like pooped my pants in a taxi once.
Oh shit.
It was awful. Yeah, I was like,
react?
He didn't know.
Or how'd your How?
I'll tell you. I mean, or if he did know, he was like, fucking. I mean, I'm saying he didn't know, but in my head, maybe he knew. I was in a taxi and we got stuck in traffic going to my apartment, and I was wearing sweatpants, and I was like, oh no. And I drank coffee, and then I like pushed myself up in the seat and then pooped. And then I was like holding myself, like doing a squat in the back. So the poop was just in my pants. And then when I got out of the taxi, I remember like I was having a hard time like pushing my card in because I was so nervous. And then I like got out and was like, I remember like kind of like walking, and I had a doorman at the time and seeing him, and he's kind of like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah. And then I got up to my apartment and like cleaned myself off. But I attributed it to poor planning on my part, because I shouldn't have thought I could get in a taxi and get home faster than I could have just like walked into a place.
Never trust a cramp or trust your own like abilities, because and this is why I don't like anal sex, because I'm like, I take pride in how strong my ass muscles are, or my asshole muscles. I know I can hold stuff in, but I also know I reach like, you know, the dam can only hold back so much water. Otherwise it goes beyond science.
Yep. And to be an adult talking about it, like I didn't tell anybody about that until like 2 years later. I started like talking about it, and then other people started coming up to me and saying they'd be like, I poop my pants too.
Yeah. Well, nothing humanizes you more. It's a universal experience, and it's
I mean, seriously,
down a peg.
A whole bunch of pegs. You're like, you cannot seem like you think you're too good for anything if you're like, I poop my pants as an adult. Have you ever shared it with someone and they did not react well?
I think people just get a little bit disgusted. So I don't know. Some people are so anti-poop talk, but I'm like, come on. We all like live in this society where it's like, be different, celebrate your uniqueness. Yeah, that's great. But let's celebrate some commonalities too.
Amen.
Like,
totally. Totally.
So Kylie Jenner has probably shat her pants. So I know, mind blowing.
Were you in the closet? So did you come out of the closet about your stomach stuff before you came out of the closet about sexuality?
Yeah.
Wow. That is like crazy. I mean, I understand it too. I didn't come out in high school at all. I couldn't have. And I know Joy's from Naples, which is a little bit more conservative.
Very conservative. Yeah. Yeah. No, for me, and I didn't even come out in college.
Really?
Yeah. And I think that's why my stomach problems peaked in college, so harboring so much anxiety. But I was so, and this goes back to my OCD and just the fact that I'm very anxious. I put career and school before everything. So in my mind at the time, you know, God, 10 years ago when it came out, Jesus, I was like, I don't want anything to impede upon these goals that I've set. This, you have to remember too, this is when I looked up to people like Anderson Cooper, and he wasn't out yet. So I was like, if he's not out, I don't need to be out.
But you could tell he was gay.
For sure. And
yeah.
You just heard things.
Right.
And I was, you know, doing a lot of journalism.
Right.
But I thought it was going to be detrimental to my career, and I selfishly decided not to. So
I totally get
that's
that.
how it was for me.
I totally get that because I put career stuff before anything else too. And I think I'll even still get like scared about it sometimes. Like it's just hard. It's hard not to, when you're always thinking about like, what's what, because there's so many variables we can't control. So it's hard. It's just really hard to know. But of course it affects your stomach because that's so stressful. Would you pretend would you change your voice or mannerisms?
Yeah, well, it's funny because I mean, it's hard.
Right.
I am
because you do. I would think you probably. I would think, but Reed is gay. But maybe it's just because I know you in that context.
Well, I was a theater minor,
right?
But it's kind of hard to loosen the Chanel purse that's hanging on the tip of my, tongue. No, it's funny because like I would try to like bro it up, and it's what I used to do when I was a publicist. I had to be on a lot of phone calls every day.
You were in the closet when you were a publicist too?
I wasn't like super out in the beginning when I first moved to New York. Yeah,
good for you.
New York helped me come out of the closet.
Yeah.
But I would be on these phone calls and people in the office would be like, what the fuck is that voice? Because they'd be like, yeah, like, we'll totally, like, we'll make sure she's there at 8:45. It's going to be great, man. And they're like, who are you?
Right.
Like, you're probably sitting at your desk with a butt plug in as you're talking like this. And I just was like, yeah, this is an act I'm never going to be able to carry into adulthood. I definitely not going to be able to find like a wife and have kids and play this act either.
Brutal.
So it's like, it's time to come out.
Would you have girlfriends when you were in the closet?
No, I do. Like, I consider myself to be a very sexual person. So like the wind can pick up and I'm like, woo, I'm ready.
Totally.
So, like I love like kissing girls. I love boobs. I love them.
Yeah.
Said in the most homosexual way.
Totally. I just love them. I love them. Gorgeous.
But I was very asexual. And then when I was hooking up with guys and experimenting for the first time, it was very like behind the scenes, like DL. So I wasn't like sleeping with women to fill the sexual need. For me, it was like, well, my hand accomplishes the same thing.
Sure.
So I don't need a vagina.
Did your parents start asking you questions like when you wouldn't have girlfriends in high school?
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of that, but that's where I feel like my theater skills did come in because I was just played it off as like, I'm a nerd, I'm a loser. And I was. My parents are completely different. When I turned 16, they would literally come into my room with a handle of vodka and say, please go to a party. Please go out and have fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like, no, I want to play Sims, the roller coaster tycoon. I don't want to socialize. So I kind of attributed it to that. Like I'm just not social in general. So,
which makes a lot of sense. It makes sense you wouldn't want to go to a party.
I have a girlfriend.
That makes so much sense. You wouldn't want to go to a party in high school if you're in the closet, because then you're like, I'm going to drink and then say something I regret, or you just feel different.
Yeah. And well, I mean, everyone knew, like I was always bullied. Like that
were?
Oh my gosh, incessantly. Yeah. Like I was always the gay kid, the closeted gay kid. But the difference is between me and I feel like some other kids who have it a lot harder is I'm quick on my feet.
Sure.
So I'm like, yeah, bitch, come for me because I'll have a rebuttal and I'll tell it to your face and I'll make you look stupid.
Right.
So come here and call me gay and let me talk about the fact that you already have a receding hairline at 16. Like
Yeah.
I was like, come at me, bro.
Have you ever said something too quick and just like because I feel like people that can say stuff really quick, have you ever really regretted anything you've said that was snappy?
Oh, every day. I already regret this interview.
Yeah. Yeah, it's because I'm not quick, but I'm not quick where I'll be like snappy, where I'll say something like super like sharp or funny that's mean, but I can say mean stuff fast.
Yeah.
And like, I'll be like, and I'll like, especially if someone is mean to someone else, condescending, then I'll be like, well, kill yourself. And then as I walk away, I'm like, I shouldn't have said kill yourself. I didn't need to say eat shit and die. I could have been a little bit softer, but it's like an impulse thing.
I'm not really like, it's weird. I feel I'm such a dichotomy of I'm a very sensitive person. I feel like I'm at heart like a very nice and caring individual, and I really do make an effort to acknowledge everyone's struggles and how they're different than mine.
Sure.
But I'm also like, if you cross a bitch, I will take out my brass knuckles verbally and assault you. Like, I am not one to mince words, and I will be a complete asshole if you deserve it. So I don't always regret what I say because I always feel like it's justified. Maybe I'm an arrogant asshole, but I feel like in situations where I have to pause, I'm like, no, but actually he or she deserved that.
Right. They had it coming.
They had it coming. Dun dun.
Do you have siblings?
Yes, I have a younger sister.
How is she? Is she similar to you, or are you guys different?
Very similar to me. We're different in a lot of ways in that she's a lot nicer. She's actually
you seem so nice though.
Everyone says that, but I like all my friends though, they're like, you are a bitch.
You're friendly.
Yeah, I'm friendly. I'm always nice to everyone I like talk to, and I'm nice especially to people who I appreciate and like I respect. But she though, like her line of work is she's a pediatric nurse. So she's like Mother Teresa in Scrubs. It's like, but she's very like non-confrontational. Whereas and I think it's kind of like the younger child syndrome where I like was always like aggressive and like I had to be in charge of everything, and she kind of just took a back seat, like I'm fine. But she at least is aligned with me when it comes to how we deal with our parents. And she's always been supportive. She's literally my best friend. So
that's so nice.
Yeah.
Have you introduced your parents to a boyfriend before?
Yes, I have.
How'd it go?
My one and only boyfriend, if you can believe it. I dated
can believe
him for 2 years. Yeah.
Only because it's hard when you're super career focused and living in New York, because like my sister was in advertising and was really career focused, still is, but she was like, I have to get out of New York to have my relationship and family, because in something like publicity or being food editor, like all these things and everything you're trying to do, like in New York, that's like 24/7.
100%. New York is and it's New York. It's It's nowhere. I mean, I go to Chicago, even LA. I feel like is slightly better than New York. It's like not
much
as
better.
fast paced. Yeah,
totally.
So, I like will go on dating apps and stuff in other cities, and you think I'm Adriana Lima. In New York, I'm chopped liver. Nobody has time for me. They notice like the one thing that like my left eye is slightly smaller. They're like, don't have time for that in my busy schedule. I don't have time to deal with it. If you're not perfect, bye.
Right. And then you're looking at them like, what kind of Muppet were you supposed to be? Because that doesn't add up at all. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. But, no, it's my parents have met an ex who actually is still one of my best friends to this day.
That's nice.
He actually moved to Miami. And I adore him. He has a new boyfriend. They're going to get married. I'm super happy for him. But my mom was so obsessed with him.
Oh, good.
That's
she great.
Now compares anyone I may be like interested in to him. She's like, well, it's not art. And I'm like, of course it's not art.
Right.
Like,
it didn't work out with art. I got to get a whole new version of a template over here.
Yes. So it's a little frustrating, but what can I do?
Is your sister super motivated like you are?
No. And I don't mean that in like a diss, but I was always the academic. I was always the career driven. She's like really motivated within her line of work.
Sure.
And she gets passionate about very specific things, but she's just so much more carefree and it works to her benefit. I think now she's definitely a little bit more wound up, and she's struggling with the whole dating situation, and she wants kids. Like she was put on this earth to have kids. Like she wants like to be a Duggar. She wants like 21 kids and counting, or however many they're at now.
So many.
And she said straight up, if I don't have a boyfriend, husband, anyone by the time I'm 35, I'm having kids. So
good for her.
I think that's kind of changing her mindset a bit, but otherwise she's more chill.
You had a post on Instagram a while ago about you're like, I put career stuff first for so long. Has Corona made you take a step back to look at like prioritizing that in your life? Because I feel like it has for me. I still put career stuff first though.
Yeah.
I can't help it.
I like to be cute and pretend like this has not affected me. And I'm like, guys, we're all in this together. And
Right.
really, I'm like, fuck that. I have like a therapy session tomorrow, a virtual one. I haven't done therapy in like 4 years.
Oh, really?
I emailed her. Yeah, I emailed
Good
her. I was
for
like,
you.
can you also prescribe Zoloft? I've never tried it. I want it.
You have to wait like 2 sessions before you jump in for the meds. Because I've done that
damn.
before. I've done that before. Because then what they'll do is like, well, why do you think you need it? Why? But if you like bring it up like 2 in, they're usually a little more friendly. Not that you need to scam. Not that it's if you really need it, you really need it. But I've had that with Adderall, and I have ADD.
Yeah.
But if I come in like I need my pills, then they like want you to pump the brakes a little bit.
Well, damn. Well, theater minor will come in and be like, I
Right.
actually don't think I need it. And then 2 weeks from now, I'll be like, I was thinking.
I probably shouldn't do it. I don't really want. That's actually how I would get my Adderall, even though I didn't need to do that because I had the prescription. I'd be like, I really don't want to take it, and then like I would pretend I didn't want to do it for some reason because they'd be like, well, okay, and then I'd be like, no, now you tell me I need to take it, and then we'll go from here.
Yeah.
Did you want to be? Did you want to be a professional actor? Like when you're studying acting, were you like thinking about it?
No, I in high school I did. I think because everybody, and also I went to a really small high school, so everybody tells you like how good you are. But I'm like, I'm really good among 60 people, Right. So I developed a bit of an ego in high school and thought I was just hot shit and was going to be like on Broadway. And the funny part was I was like never cast in like singing roles and musicals. It was always like the character voices because I could not sing. So I would sing
I'm going
like
pro.
this. Yeah. But I realized, I kind of had this realization towards the end. I was like, I don't want this to sound like degrading to people who are studying theater, but I was like, I'm smarter than this. I thought to myself, because I went to a really small private school, like a college prep school that was all about academics. And I was like, I don't want to waste like my writing skills. So I kind of flipped the script and was like, you know what? Acting is something I'm passionate about, and God bless to those people who pursue it. Like, balls.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I mentally, personally can deal with that career trajectory. So I'm going to kind of combine the best of both worlds. And I was like, maybe I'll do broadcast journalism. I'm going to be acting like on TV.
Right.
And, I'll be able to write all the time. But then I kept things more broad into communications. And then I was like, well, I love theater and it's an easy A, so I'll do it as a minor.
And also theater for broadcast journalism, it's like you still have then the stage presence and it translates over into other things too.
Exactly. It's applicable to, I mean, I can say that. Do I really think my theater minor helped me in the long run? No. Do I think it helped my GPA? Absolutely.
Right.
But I would have gotten close to a 4.0 GPA anyway because I am a freak of nature.
How do you deal with it when you're not good at a subject?
Awfully. Like it is, you think my world is crashing down around me and it's like World War III started, because I used to do this thing where I would call my mom after every exam and I'd be like, oh my God, I totally failed it. I absolutely failed that one. My mom would be like, shut the fuck up. And the next day I would get like a 92 or something.
Right.
She's like, you are so annoying. But then one time I actually did take a final in a science class that we were not connecting, science and me.
I get that.
I was like, Mom, I swear to God, I got a legitimate F. And she's like, shut up. Like, just come home. We'll see you this summer. And then I got an F. And luckily he curved it, but it was traumatizing. Did
you petition the grade?
100%. I used to petition A minuses.
Oh,
I used to be like,
God.
No, I deserve an A, and here's why.
They're like, hey, Joey. It
worked.
It worked. I'm trying to think if I used to petition grades. I would, but only if I used to always say, I was like, hey, look, like I'll do not community service. I'll do the extra stuff. Please. And they'd be like, you've already done the extra credit and you still have a C. And I'd be like, well, then what needs to happen to get me out of this room? Because I need an A minus, please.
Yeah.
What was the thesis about because that sounded really interesting about broadcast, because no one really talks about broadcast journalism. You just kind of see them and then they're there.
Interesting. I can just tell you right now.
What was it?
Yeah, I did it kind of like on a branding perspective. So I did it on like personal branding.
That's a fucking that's a confusing career. Like that's a career that's extremely competitive.
Yeah, so I kind of wanted to dive into like personal brand versus like network brand. So if I talk to someone, like I interviewed at the time AJ Hammer, who was like the lead like entertainment anchor for CNN.
Awesome.
And I was like, how do you balance like the brand of AJ versus the brand that CNN kind of wants you to conform to?
Right.
So it was a lot of just exploring the psychology behind that.
I think that's really interesting though, because it's interesting because I always just think of the journalists as like the mouthpiece for the network. I never actually usually look at them as a person unless it's like Tom Brokaw or someone. And even then I'm just like, it's the news person.
Yeah. And it's completely different than, you know, from years ago when I wrote this thing, because now we have social media.
Right.
And you're required to have this, you know, very personalized presence in different, you know, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Right. And that wasn't really, I mean, all that was big when I was doing these interviews was Facebook. And it was everyone's Facebook profiles were private. So, yeah, it was eye-opening, but what the takeaway was it just was different for everyone. You know, I interviewed local anchors who were so passionate about their personal brand and how they were portrayed in the community and all the community service they did. And I'm also a cook and I love, you know, and others were like, nope, I'm here to tell the news. And they were very traditional, you know, it was very much a, Walter Cronkite.
Because they need to seem unbiased too. Because if they're like on their personal brand being like, I fucking hate snakes, and then they do some show about snakes and someone's like, they got an agenda.
Yes, it's hard. And back then, like I say back then as if it was like 15 years ago, but like you couldn't have any political opinions, you know, even like 10 years ago. Now you get these personalities who they're famous for their political opinions, like freaking bimbo Barbie Tomi Lauren or whatever the hell, Fox News mouthpiece. She's built an entire platform on just being like a beauty queen Republican,
and being so over the top.
Yeah. So
when you were working after college and you worked as a publicist,
yes.
Did you get to meet, so some of the shows were Here Comes Honey Boo Boo, My Strange Addiction, and My Crazy Obsession. Did you get to meet Honey Boo Boo and the family?
Of course. Yeah, I was there almost every week.
Really? On location at their house?
On location. Well, it was actually nice because, you know, ultimately we're taking everyday people and making them famous, but we wanted to keep their lives as normal as possible, especially when children are involved.
Yes.
So Honey Boo Boo still was going to school every single day. I didn't want to pull her out of school to do press in New York. So I would fly and be like, okay, we're going to bring like a people reporter, you know, down there, or we're going to do a live satellite with GMA from the house. And it would just take, you know, half an hour out of her day.
Right.
As opposed to like flying her in, having to get a tutor. Sure. So the network was really amazing about that. And I became super close with the family. You almost turn into a therapist. Yeah. I mean, they become friends and they literally become family. It's,
because I got a job working on this show about moose poop. It's called Turdy Works. It's actually not about moose poop. It's about this woman who sells moose poop. It's about her family, but they really kept their life like pretty intact, like to how it, like she was doing, I mean, she had to because of Corona, but she was doing press from her shed. And then you've got people from, it's on True TV. They've got people that Turner owns True TV. People from Turner are buzzing around this like shed in Maine, setting up a little press studio for her, and she's just sitting there like, okay, I'll talk to whoever.
Yeah, I mean, if you work for a network that makes it accommodating for your talent, it's great because, you know, it also helps to kind of bring the egos down. I realized if you are working with talent and you're constantly flying them to LA and putting them in these amazing hotels, they come to expect that.
Sure, I didn't think of that.
Yeah, so it helps to kind of keep things, you know, in a perspective. Like, no, you're still going back to your everyday life. Like, you're a reality star. We're not making you Angelina Jolie here. Right. So.
I asked one of the people that worked on the show, I was like, how do you separate your life? Because they were living with the crew was like living in Maine with them. I was like, how do you separate your lives? When you leave, how is that? And he was like, it's easier for us than the people that are in the show because I leave, I go back to LA, I go back to my wife and kids, like my normal life. It's all for them. It's just all of a sudden we're gone. How was it when you stopped being in communication with them?
Well, it was a little sad because their lives kind of spiraled publicly. Like Mama June, the show got canceled because Mama June was like dating a guy who like molested her oldest daughter.
Oh, I didn't know that's why it got canceled.
Oh yeah, TLC pulled the plug, and I was not part of the show when all that happened, and I kind of was like more detached because that's when I kind of went into the editorial world and was no longer in PR. But I think now they have their show, I think on it's Lifetime or We TV, I believe, and Mama June is obviously going through her own struggles, and God, I wish her well. But it looks like Alana, Honey Boo Boo, is a normal like teenager.
Oh, good.
And the good thing that Mama June did, and she was very public about this, is it was not a requirement to put the money that you make from a show in a trust for your kids. It is a requirement, I believe, in states like California.
Right.
But she did so anyway. So
that's
when
good.
when Alana turns 18, 21, whatever number it is, she's going to inherit a significant amount of money.
So she wasn't taking the money from her?
No.
Interesting. I feel like that never gets discussed because it always
gets discussed.
Yeah. It looks like she would be, the way that she's presented is she like spent it all on drugs.
No, and that's why I think they're saying she's like broke now because and I don't know what her pay situation obviously is at WeTV, but I think from when they were on when I was dealing with them, it was like an episodic payment, or I think they paid by the season.
Sure.
And technically the parents are allowed to decide however they want to divvy it up. But Mama June was like adamant about putting that money in trust. So,
that almost makes me want to cry.
I know.
No, and she must have been like, I can't be trusted. So like, because even when you're like in a dark place like that, to still make the right decision and you're like fighting yourself, the worst part of yourself is like, no, spend it on fucking whatever type of. Did you know she was on drugs when you were interacting with them?
She wasn't on drugs when we were interacting.
So she started doing drugs after the show?
From what I know, she was never on it when I was working with them. Yeah.
That's crushing.
Sad. Yeah, it's really crushing to see, especially because I was so close with them. But no, they were totally fine. I mean, they were fine when I worked with them. I loved them. I still love them. And I love how just unabashedly themselves that they were. Like, they were not afraid to be who they are. And I think that's why she made the decision to put money in trust for them, because she wanted to give them a better life than what she had. She got pregnant when she was 14.
Oof.
You know, that's just the culture in McIntyre, Georgia. Yeah.
14?
So, 14. She 14. She had her first kid. She may have been pregnant at 13. It's 14. I think she had her first kid. Yeah.
That's like you get your period when you're like at the youngest, maybe like 12-ish. Like that's that's not, what is that, like 8th grade?
Surreal. But
that's crazy.
Yeah, but when I was working with them, you know, they were making all the right decisions. People didn't agree with their lifestyle because it was so out there and outrageous. Right. But I'm like, but this is a legitimate lifestyle that exists in American subculture. Like,
absolutely.
We're putting it on a TV platform and people are profiting from it, but we're also giving them, you know, money and things that they didn't have before. And now look, Alana can go to college, the kids can be taken care of. So I don't know. People have their opinions on it. But they were more than lovely and amazing when I worked with them, and I do always wish them the best, and they always will have a special place in my heart. So
I remember the first time I saw Honey Boo Boo, I was like, she's a star, because I don't know, I remember it was some clip where she was like taking her stomach and like jiggling it.
Yes.
And that wasn't why I thought it. The reason I thought it was just she was so charismatic. I was like, there's just something about her. And then I was like, why is this kid showing her stomach on national TV? But like, that was secondary to me being like, she is interesting.
That's why she got her own show. They were on an episode of Tallers and Tiaras randomly, and she was the breakout star. They were filming that, and they were like, "Holy crap,
what the fuck is going on?
Like, what is this girl? What is this family?"
Right.
So they ordered, you know, an entire season. It didn't even go to a 1-part special. They just ordered an entire season. And that was my first big like publicity break. My boss was like, you can either do this or the second season of Long Island Medium. And I said, I want a new show. I think this would be hilarious. So it was a blast.
How was My Strange Addiction?
Oh God, crazy.
Because would it be sad to be around around the people on that? Because I feel like that would be, you have to figure out how to really separate your energy from what's happening with the people you're working really close with. Because I've only seen like 1 or 2 episodes of that, but it gets pretty, it gets pretty strange.
For sure. It gets very strange. But what's nice about it, and I'm really close with the executive producer, is, for a lot of these people, this is the only opportunity they're actually going to get this help. And it's weird how TV will get someone the help that they need and the resources. granted, I didn't work with all of them because some of them, even post-production, are still going through therapy and psychological evaluations to get them the help they need. They're by no means ready to do TV interviews to discuss their problems. So like, and a lot of them were still going through problems. Like I would book people on Anderson's daytime show when he had it, like Dr. Oz, and they would still be eating face masks and like stinging themselves with bees.
Right. You're like, what do they need in the green room? You're like, tons of face masks. And you're like, you know what? Nope, shut it down. They're not.
But like legit.
Right. Like, they're not. Did they ask for bees by any chance in the green room? Yeah, like 800 of them. Okay. All right. They're not ready for that.
But like legit. But I mean, I appreciated it from a psychological standpoint and like seeing the transition of like recognizing like the source of this problem and this crazy shit that they do to like what can they do to overcome it, but then applying it to like stuff in my everyday life. It's like, well, why do I order the same sugar-free peach gummy every day that I have to have at 1 o'clock? Like that's my own thing, but it's still an addiction, you know?
Right.
So
why 1 o'clock?
I don't know. It's like right after I have hard-boiled eggs because I'm so scheduled.
That's so interesting because I've never been someone that is super, super scheduled, but that's what my therapist said. She was like, you need to start. Because I was like, the time I think I was the happiest was when I was in college. And part of that, I think, was because I was always obsessed with school too. And I was like, that was when I was the absolute, I've never I hope that's not when I peaked, but that's when I was the happiest, which my girlfriends always hate when I say that. If I'm in a relationship,
say,
I know every time I'm in a relationship, if I'm like, I was happiest in college, then I get like a look and I'm like, well, except for when I met you. And then I'm the happiest. But I was the happiest when I was in college. I fucking loved college. It's the endless opportunities. You know what I mean?
True.
And you're not just like on one track.
I do have regrets, though. I wish I would have enjoyed college a bit more instead of being having a freaking stick up my ass about everything. I wish I would have been out. But maybe it was better that I didn't come out then because, whoa, I would have been a whore. And I went to Northwestern, which is like very
Great
gay.
school.
I mean, our school color is purple. It's like just gays flock to us, please. We're here. And I knew so many openly gay guys, especially as a theater minor.
Sure.
And I now it's like I want to stalk them on Instagram and be like, I didn't like S your D then, but I'm totally into it now.
But I'm free now.
Yeah.
Well, what are you doing right now?
Yeah, let's have a reunion.
Yeah. Who's going to the college reunion? You're like, just these couple guys.
Just set up a glory hole.
Yeah. Did they know that you were gay, do you think? Like, would they treat you like, okay, Joey, like, we'll see you in a couple of years?
I mean, that's the thing. I have such amazing friends. The ones, at least the friends that I still have from college, they never put pressure on me. They knew. And when I came out, it was hilarious. I was just like, I like boys. And they're like, duh.
Right.
But they never ever made me feel bad about myself, or they never pressured me.
Oh, that's so good.
I never even had the conversations. Like, there was only one blowout fight I had with one of my good friends where she just straight up, well, actually she did a stupid ass drunken thing and took my sister into a bathroom. It was like, we all know Joey's gay, he's just not coming out. And then my sister confronted me drunk, and then gloves were off. I was like,
yeah,
don't you dare talk to my sister.
I am not. And like, wait, and I move my hand like that. I'm not. Yeah.
I am not gay.
Everyone's like, okay, well,
yeah. It's like, okay, girl, take off your acrylic nails, and then we'll talk about it. But I
can see why you'd be pissed about that.
Yeah, because I'm like, this is my story to tell, not yours.
Right.
And I'm not going to tell it until I'm Anderson Cooper and I write a memoir for $3 million. Like,
I forgot that he was ever in the closet, but my gaydar for men is not good. So I couldn't tell that he was gay. My gaydar for men is not good.
Really?
It isn't. With women, it's a little bit better.
Okay.
Have you ever had someone who's closeted come out to you that's like, they haven't told other people yet? Because I have had that with two men. I had two men. I was doing this summer program in college. It was some kind of study abroad thing. And these men, okay, my gaydar, it's not that my gaydar is bad, but these guys, you never would have been able, they were like always kind of going out to meet girls, like really bro-y. I think they were both from very like wealthy families. And one of them was pretty drunk and he was like, can I talk to you? And it was like the last night of the thing. And I was like, sure. And he was like, over here. And then I remember we were at this big club. And so I went over to the side, like a corner of the club. And he goes, actually, we got to go upstairs. So we walked upstairs and then we went into a bathroom. He was like, we gotta go to a different bathroom. We went to a different bathroom and then we like found the kitchen and we would go to the back of the kitchen. And at this point I was like, what the fuck is going on? And he was like, you know, you're out. And it just, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. And then he was like, sometimes, you know, and then he said his friend's name. He's like, he lets me like touch him. I think only he was gay actually. And his friend was straight. And he was like, I'm in love with him, but you know, we could never be together. And every now and then he'll like sometimes let me like touch him a little bit, but like we could never be out. And it was so sad. And I unfollow him on Facebook and he's like married to a woman.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sad. Well,
I know.
Listen, I do kind of believe in a bisexuality.
I do too.
I believe in bisexuality.
I really
think
do too. I really hope. I pray for him. He's super bisexual, and he is in love with his wife.
I know, because you see these like guys, especially on Grindr now, it's become more and more common. These married men who want to like hook up with guys on the side, and I'm like, that's so sad.
Right. It is.
Like, the poor wife has no fucking clue.
Right, and
it's like
she can be getting God knows what.
Yeah.
From that.
It's like, just come out and divorce your wife if you feel like you need to live your truth. Like, it's going to be better for all of you at the end of the day. Just do it. Like,
yeah, it'd be such a relief.
It will be such a relief because they're going to look back in life and they're going to be like, oh, fuck, like I missed out.
Right.
So
I missed out. When you when you stopped being a publicist, what was that transition like to go? Because you talk about loving food even when you were little, but when were you like, okay, I could make that my career?
It was so hard because initially I was just like, I want to write. And I didn't even care whether or not it was food or whatever. So my first gig actually after being a TV publicist was naturally to become a TV editor.
Right.
So I was a TV editor for a couple of years. I did a lot of just, you know, interviews with people on TV shows, did a lot of reviews, recaps, which was really fun. But then I got laid off. And
would you get anxious doing reviews? Because if you didn't like something, would you get nervous about putting out there like a criticism of it?
Yeah, it's weird because, and I don't actually do a lot of food reviews other than when we did it on the show, like taste testing things that I don't care about. Because I'm like, these are from companies most of the time that like mass market and they can deal with us saying this tastes like shit. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I felt bad about being critical because I'm hypersensitive to criticism myself. And I deep down inside, I always say, I hate people. I don't care what other people think, but really I do. Like I'm very much a people pleaser.
Of course.
And so that did bother me, but I also kind of had to take a step back and was like, this is not going to be the first and last project for a lot of these big actors that that I'm talking about. They're unaffected. So if I don't like anything and I come at it from like an objective standpoint, like it's fine. Well, slight subjectivity, but at least comparing it to other things that I think are better or worse, then like, fuck it. I don't care. Like, sorry, you're getting $3 million an episode. I don't care.
True.
Like,
plus you put yourself in that position. I think about that a lot with comedy, and especially in the past like year or two, everyone is like, you know, there's too much feedback on Twitter and YouTube. And it's true, when people comment on things, generally it's in no way like a well thought out criticism based on an educational background for it. It's literally like, fuck you, I hate Jewish people. Like it just gets anti-Semitic so fast and crazy, anti-Semitic, homophobic, all the things just like, so I noticed that there's thumbs down. If you Google rain sounds, there's a thumbs down on it. I was watching a video of someone like cutting bread. There's 200 thumbs down on it. People just like to leave negative shit.
Yeah.
But if you're
Keyboard warriors.
But if you're putting yourself out there in a place where you're going to be critiqued, you have to be like, okay, this is part of the job. And either I can read it and say, okay, I'm going to get better, or I can disagree with where they're coming from.
Yeah, and like I'm starting to get reviews for my cookbook, because they're releasing the galleys online early, and I'm so happy for the people who get it and it resonates. Right. But I've had like one woman was like, I cannot deal with this writing and this style. Like it is not for me. But then I'm like, okay, you're boring then. That's just like, sorry that my book is too fun for you.
Right.
Like, I am not. Fucking love Ina Garten and I idol worship her. But this is not an Ina Garten book. This is a homosexual who does not have formal like culinary training who wrote a cookbook. So like take your comments elsewhere, or like leave a comment and make my freaking rating go down, asshole. But it's not going to bother me beyond that. So
if she worded it like that, that sounds literally like just some kind of like personality thing. Like she doesn't like the tone of the writing. Then it's like, okay, she's not saying it's a bad book. She's saying the tone isn't for her.
Yeah. But
Bitch.
it's like, don't give me a 1 star then. Give me like a
Bitch.
3 and say like,
Yeah.
like
Or send me a fucking email.
legit.
Yeah.
Take it up with the manager, and the manager is me.
Right. Blocked.
Gosh, I've been muting and blocking like on the regs. It's
Really?
like, oh my God, people are just pissing me. I think like I went through a stage where just now on like on Instagram, I was following all these like super hot like Instagram influencers. Yeah, Mateo.
Yeah.
And I was just getting annoyed because I'm like, fuck you. Like,
Sure.
I go to the park and I see these gays with their shirts off with like chiseled abs. and
Oh
I'm like,
yeah, gay male culture is insane with that.
I'm like, how are you still getting your steroid cycles in?
Right.
Like, what is up?
It's so much pressure. I really truly look at gay men sometimes and I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I know gay men that don't look like that too.
Yeah.
But in the media, like I remember I used to go to San Juan, Puerto Rico, and where I would stay at my mom's friend's place, there's a gay guy resort next door. And it was Marriott, the condo, gay guy resort. And there would be the most beautiful men I've ever seen in my life outside playing like volleyball or whatever they were doing. And I remember you would see women from the Marriott that don't know it's gay men, and they'd walk by and they'd be like checking out the guys. And then you'd see them do a couple loops, and then you'd see them be like, oh, okay. But the level of gorgeous of these men, you're like, how do not like 80% of gay men have some kind of complex when it's like, this is a fucking bar? They gave me a complex, and I would be like I'd be over in the like closeted people straight section, and you're just looking at these men, you're like, what the fuck, how do you do that?
Well, the real hot ones, though, they actually have more insecurities than all of us because they feel the need to constantly post pictures of themselves naked for validation, and they have their own issues. But I mean, listen, I look at some of these steroided boys and I'm like, maybe I should go on steroids. It's like, I already have the back knee. If I get small balls, like whatever, I'll make my dick look bigger. Like,
but you know what?
Downside.
All they're thinking is they're probably, if someone could be looking at you like, he did a book and he went from this career and then transitioned it into that. You know what I'm saying? So it's, you never know what someone else is thinking about.
True. I say it in jest. I'll never do steroids. I'm such a like goody. I like hate I don't even like smoking pot. Like I'm such a control freak that if I put a foreign substance into my body, I like go into freak out mode. Like, why am I different? Other than alcohol, I can have tequila any day of the week.
Have you ever tried like acid or anything?
No.
Me neither.
But it's funny because I had like, I would say an acid like trip with pot chocolate years ago that just, it completely messed me up. But it's funny because I actually did it with my parents. My parents didn't do it, but I did it with my sister and my friend when I was home with my parents because my uncle sent it to my dad.
Oh, wow.
And it was
your parents knew?
We were playing like game night, and my dad's like, oh yeah, we have like
pot
chocolate in the fridge if you guys want to just like have it. I'm like, okay.
All right.
I felt the moment where my face like just felt like it was separate from my body, and I started crying and hyperventilating.
They're like, Joey, that wasn't the chocolate with the pot in it. You're like, oh.
Well, it's funny you say that because I was like crying. I was like, Mom, this has nothing to do with the pot chocolate. I'm actually dying, and it's just coincidental that it's happening. And like, you're gonna regret this tomorrow when I'm dead, and you're gonna do an autopsy, and it's not the chocolate.
It's like, you motherfucker.
Yeah, my mom also was like this tough like woman she grew up in the Bronx, like was exposed to just like drug culture her whole life, and she just like, what the fuck, like, are you kidding me, you little wuss? But I was so high. I was still high. The next day we went to the beach, and I felt like the waves were crashing on me. Like it was
some
so
good fucking weed.
bad. Emma, I never again.
That is good. Well, when you eat the chocolate, it makes you get way more stoned.
It wasn't even stoned. I was like panic mode. I was literally spiraling.
Was your sister okay?
No, we were dying. She went to the bathroom, and she was like, we realized she was in there for like 25 minutes, and she said she was just staring at the floor.
Get it.
She came out and she said, I feel like my leg weighs 300 pounds. And she was just marching around the kitchen like she was a fucking Nazi. She was just like lifting her leg straight up, and we're like, oh my God.
Your uncle wanted to fuck you guys up.
Did he ever?
He was like on a mission. He's like, too bad they didn't videotape that.
I wish we would have. And then my friend Steven, I probably shouldn't have said his name, but
I can beep
my
it out.
friend Jack,
Right.
he did it, and he was so the opposite of us. His face was red. It looked like someone literally farted in a pillow and he rubbed it on his eyes. And he just was sitting there like with just completely mute and eating chips and salsa. Like, that was his high.
I get that because it usually gives you the munchies. That's why I stopped smoking so much pot because, in high school I smoked and then I didn't smoke in college or after that. But I would get high and then I want to eat and then I'd be like, I wonder if this person knows I don't like them. And I'd just be like looking at someone thinking that, and then I'd be like, can I say that out loud? Oh God. How did your book come about? How was the process of creating it and then getting it to market? And I'm so sorry about the timeline of it because it would have been so fun for you to get to do press for it in person.
Emma, it is literally so on brand for me to write a book and then have it come out during a pandemic. It's like my life is only high highs and low lows. There's nothing in between. But no, I started this role as an editor in food. So I transitioned as a TV editor to food editor. I had a job at Food and Wine for a year, and then I switched.
Was that what you were gunning for the whole time when you were doing the TV editing? We're like, I want to get into food. I want to get into food.
No, not at all. If anything, I wanted to parlay my editorial into doing more TV gigs. And I was like, I'd love to host like an E! News, and do entertainment reporting.
Yep.
But I've always had a love for food and like dining and travel. And I was seeing some of the perks that editors get who are in this space. And I was like, why can't I? You get free trips, you get free meals. What the hell? I was like, what am I doing wrong?
I think that's such an important mindset to be like, oh, you have that. Why can't I? Because a lot of times we'll be like, once you start giving yourself the reasons, you got to pump the brakes right there and be like, someone has that. So it is possible. So I want to have that.
Yes, totally. And just through that process, at work, I was getting so many cookbooks sent to me naturally.
Right.
And I'm reading through them and thinking, this really doesn't speak to me. This speaks to like someone who's already good at cooking, or it's very aspirational instead of inspirational.
Totally.
And there's definitely an audience for that, but it's not me. And I just felt like there was such a void in the cookbook space where just something basic needed to live. And I always was joking around calling people, you basic ass, kind of has become part of gay vernacular too, instead of just white girl, saying she's so basic. Right. I just randomly came up with the pun basic bitchin'. And I'm like, oh my God, that has to be done. That has to be done. So I like go online, I'm searching like social handles and it's nowhere. And so I immediately go on GoDaddy. I'm buying it. I nab some of the social handles. And it was an idea that I kind of sat on for 2 years.
2 years? Wow.
Yeah, because I couldn't work on a book outside of my full-time job.
Sure.
It's like a conflict of interest. But what's cool is there was a new imprint being started at Simon & Schuster, and I work for CBS, and CBS owns Simon & Schuster. Great. And they were like, let's do a brand book through Chowhound, but have one of your editors lead the charge. So great. My boss was like, you need to pitch her your personal idea. But I was like, I don't want to, because I'd rather do it the traditional way, get an agent, get royalties. Right. And, I want to make Basic Bitchin' an empire, not just a book.
Yeah, like a whole brand the whole thing out.
Totally. So I did kind of have to sell my soul a little bit to corporate America to do it. But ultimately, I think it pays off because your first book, no matter who you are, is just, unless you're famous, is going to just be a brand builder. You're not doing it to make money. Right. Especially cookbooks are so expensive to produce. And
why are they so expensive? Why are they so expensive to produce?
Because they're all hardcover and it's all photography. So yeah, think about just a paperback.
I never thought of that. Right.
Yeah. You can print millions of copies and it's nothing. That's why it's such a higher markup and harder to sell. So, and that's why cookbooks now have kind of morphed into like coffee table book reads instead of like traditional cookbooks, because you needed to serve a different purpose beyond just this is how to make recipes. Like it needs
I never thought about that.
Person.
That makes so much sense. That makes so much. Yeah, you think of a cookbook. Like I remember my mom's kitchen, like these like giant, like lugging it around, clunking it down. It's like a whole thing. And even if you're not doing a book like that, the markup, my friend's mom wrote a book. She sold and it did well, but she was like, after she paid the publicist and the upfront cost is so much. It's just like basically like a promo opportunity.
Yeah, 100%. Like you are told in this industry and publishing, you will not make money off of a cookbook unless you are Ina Garten, Chrissy Teigen. You know, it's definitely, you have to use it as a door to open up other opportunities. It's like a cooking show or your own blog where you've got paid
Right.
advertising, you know, which I'm praying happens sooner rather than
Absolutely.
later. But yeah, I'm pretty
Have you made a
bummed.
vision board before?
I had to make it's funny you say that because I feel like I have a vision board in my head always and I'm
Me
very
too.
visual, but it's hard kind of to put it down on paper. I wanted to be like, no, let me just tell you my vision.
It's hard to put it on paper too. I don't know if you found this, but I did make one years ago, but then I feel like really nervous of someone else seeing. I just don't want other people to see it because it's like my like special vision that I will talk about all the time. Like I want this, I want that, but I don't want people to see it because then I don't want to like, I feel like the picture
Yeah.
can't do it justice. But
Yeah.
I was talking to someone who was doing vision boards and he said some pretty incredible stuff about the stuff that he's like, put it on the board and then this happened. So now I'm rethinking the whole thing.
I
It
want to
makes
see
it
your
physical.
vision board once it's done.
See, it feels so like, because I had a bad vision board experience. I made one. You've never made one?
I've done a digital one where
Okay.
I was like copy pasting, cropping photos and kind of created a collage. I did that to show the graphic designer actually the look and feel of what I wanted for Basic Bitchin'.
Oh, cool.
So there were a lot of Ugg boots and like millennial pink things, but
See, then it came true then. The vision board came true.
I'm so happy with the aesthetic of the book. I
Good.
think it matches the exact tone that I want. I said I want very loud, bright, like we're here to make fun of me, you
Right.
know, during this whole process. And I want to be like loud about that. Like,
Totally.
I am not taking myself seriously, but you can actually learn some things along the way.
Right.
So we need to keep it organized and clean.
That's a cookbook that I would use because I feel like any type of cooking tricks are extremely inaccessible to me because I don't have any idea about it. But my parents would be elated if I cook something from a cookbook. Are you allowed to give away any of the recipe premises you have? Like how should I be making
Yeah.
avocado toast?
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing. Everything's so simple and so customizable. And throughout the book, I actually created 3 sections to guide you along the way. So one of them called, it's called like Just the Tips. And it's literally just a finger with an acrylic nail pointing. So it'll give you like a pointers throughout. Then there's something called Literally Can't Even, which is substitution. So if you're like,
I love
vegan,
that.
you know, you'll know when to substitute something. So those little things are very helpful along the way. Every title, the titles were the most fun to come up with, you know, like, and, you know, it's like Shantae, you stay, Froze, like, you know, I try to think of even more off the top of my head, but they're just
It makes
so
it fun.
basic.
Because usually
So
they're
fun.
not so fun. Normally it's
not.
so fucking serious and then it's so serious and then I see the numbers that are and I'm like, I'm out of here. I'm out of here.
My intro literally says, I still chop garlic like I'm wearing Sally's press-on nails.
Right.
And that's fine.
Right.
I'm not an expert. I'm an expert in communicating and storytelling, I would say. So I'm here to tell you about a passion that I have. And I'm going to break it down to you, break it down for you in a way that makes sense for me. And hopefully it's like, makes sense for a lot of people like me. And or for a basic bitch. It's going to make sense for a basic bitch.
I identify as a basic bitch. I love the Cheesecake Factory. There's certain things where I'm like, sometimes maybe people are surprised by that. I'm like, I'm pretty, at the end of the day, you know, we're all unique. But then I enjoy a lot of basic. I tried Uggs on. I remember I slipped my little feet into them. I said, ooh. I couldn't pull them off style-wise, but ooh, this is lovely. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it.
We should love it. I mean, they're the basic bitch things in our lives right now are popular for a reason.
So did you like Danity Kane?
I had mixed opinions on Danity Kane.
Okay, that's when I think basic bitch, I always think of them because that was like, I fucking loved that. I don't know why. I just love them.
Well, I love a song that spells out a word and then D-A-M-A, right?
Yep. Me too. Anything that's like kind of like just like catchy, I like love it. I love basic bitch music, which a lot of times in lesbian culture is like, no, you have to like Sarah. I did like Sarah McLachlan, I think, but like you have to like. No, I get her confused with Melissa Etheridge. You're supposed to like funky weird stuff, but I just like Danity Kane. That's just what I like.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. And that's what I talk about in the book is it pokes fun at stereotypes.
Right.
You know, you get stereotyped as a lesbian. I get stereotyped as a gay guy.
Sure.
Basic bitches get stereotyped. But
Yep.
I said I grew to appreciate basic bitch culture because my everyday life and my job is actually so complex. Like I love traveling. I love experiencing different foods. I'll eat whatever you put in front of me. I'm not really a basic person. I'm actually very complicated.
Right.
But
Yes.
being a basic bitch and embracing that culture allows me to have this respite from
Right.
my everyday life that is comfortable for me. And if I want to come home and make fucking chicken fingers and French fries,
Yeah.
don't hate. That
Right,
feels
right.
good.
Can you
So,
make chicken fingers? Is that in the book?
hell yeah.
Oh my
girl,
God.
hell yeah.
If I could make chicken fingers, I would be so happy with myself.
Done. I'll give you a sneak peek.
Please,
and I'll send you the
please do.
recipe.
Please do. How have you ever reacted if you've had a food item sent to you that you don't like? And will you just be like, this is disgusting? Because I watched the video of you trying out the sauces and you were very friendly when you didn't like one of the ketchups. You were like, it's chunky and like, what was it? It wasn't that it was chunky. It was that you didn't like the texture on one of them, but you like said it like sweetly. But
Yeah.
what if there was one where because I used to worry about that when we would do food testing on morning radio. And I think I always liked all the stuff, but I'd be like, what if I didn't like one? Have you had
you were nervous.
Yeah, because I'm like, oh God, don't buy Carol's cookies or whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's where the publicist background really works to my benefit because I always know how to spin a negative into a positive, or at least try to.
Right.
Or I'm really good at
Yeah.
bullshitting.
Right.
So,
Flavor isn't their thing, but this packaging is phenomenal.
Exactly.
Right,
There are
right.
diversions. But if I genuinely don't like something, I never want to mislead a consumer or
Right.
a reader.
Right.
Because that's going to reflect poorly on me.
Exactly.
So, and publicists get it, the ones who send me these products now. But I'm brutally honest. I feel like I'm in a field where you have to be.
Yes.
Food,
Especially with food.
It's subjective.
Yeah,
and
right.
people need to know that going into it. Not everybody likes a basic Lay's potato chip. And
Right.
that's fine.
Right. Couldn't even imagine not liking that. But right. You can't.
See, they don't excite me. I
Really?
would never go for a bag of Lay's.
I love Lay's potato chips. I just think it's like but I have to proceed with that type of stuff with caution, because if I start eating that stuff, I want more of it. And that headspace is a slippery slope, because food is a drug for sure. And something that, like, it's like, whew. So the book comes out August 4th.
August 4th. It was May 5th. I had an entire book tour planned. We don't know yet if that's still happening, because it's still too early to tell, obviously, with everything going on. But August 4th, and you can pre-order it. So,
do you think you'll be able to just do a book tour virtually?
Yeah, that'll be at the very least, we'll do a virtual book tour. But it's hard for someone like me who I love the face-to-face engagement, and it's really, this has been really tough for me being such a control freak, and everything was falling into place, even like broadcast press, going on TV to promote it.
Right.
Didn't even do that. It's put things at a pause, but now the book is definitely coming out August 4th, and TBD on promotion.
The silver lining though, everyone's home cooking. More people are like making bread than ever. Like, everyone is home cooking, and also people are going to be cooking stuff more because they're not going to be going out to eat. They're going to be saving money. So there is a silver lining in that regard too. You're such an optimist, Emma. When it comes to other people. Same. When it comes to other people, absolutely. Then myself, I'm like, it's over. Everything's over all the time. Same. So the book's coming out. Where else can people find you online and follow you and check out all your stuff? Yeah, all my social handles are my name, at Joey Skladany. And how do you spell Skladany? Oh yeah, Skladany. Boom. Think Zany Skladany. Zany Skladany. Thank you so much, Joey. I appreciate it. I adore you so much. Thank you for having me. Absolutely.